ups, downs, and in-betweens of life can be a lot to handle, and even more difficult to capture accurately in media. The film Beautiful Boy shows viewers a raw example of what life is like for some people by capturing the main character, Nick Sheff's, struggles with meth and heroin addiction. The movie explores Nick's life from different points of view, including the perspectives of his divorced parents and Nick himself. He goes through periods of sobriety and goes to college when everything seems to be getting better. Then he relapses and everything in his life gets worse. The mood of the story is conveyed through the soundtrack with soft songs such as Beautiful Boy by John Lennon during sweet moments and hard rock music when things are very intense. The film style also changes with the mood, using high saturation during happy moments and low saturation and dark colors during difficult moments to really make the viewer feel something. When Nick and his family are happy, the viewer will feel the same, but when Nick goes missing or relapses, the viewer can put themselves in the shoes of the family or even Nick and feel their pain. Not only were the mood and emotions shown very well, but the film is based on Nick Sheff's book about his life, which helped show what drug addiction can actually look like. In a lot of mainstream entertainment today, people writing a story and script don't actually understand what the main character could be going through and their hidden struggles. This is most likely because the people who have control over the media we consume tend to be wealthy white men. Because of this, stigmatized topics, such as drug addiction, can be portrayed inaccurately through stereotypical stories and characters. Not only did the fact that Beautiful Boy was based on a true story make the movie more pleasing to watch because it was heartfelt and emotional, but it also allowed for some more empathy for the main character. This is because the story was originally told by someone recovering from addiction, so the story did not demonize drug addiction or portray stereotypes. We can learn a lot about this kind of filmmaking and stories written based on real experiences. We can continue to support films that have an ethical background with storylines based on real experiences, not stereotypes. I'm Nina from Half Awake on YR Raw. For this review and more, visit yrraw.org.
Hi, I'm Lolly.
Hi, I'm Juliet.
Welcome to Becoming Hobby Lobby, where we become Hobby Lobby because of TikTok.
We'll be talking about TikTok trends that we picked up over quarantine and our personal experience with them.
So, what were your favorite TikTok trends?
I think out of all of them, it would be my favorite one would be the one where people were putting a song in like this glass and putting like the Spotify barcode at the bottom. I thought it was such a amazing and very thoughtful and a gift to give to someone. And people could literally just make it by going to like the dollar store and buying that. So I just thought it was very affordable and sustainable and very nice as a product. But what were your favorite trends?
Mine was the exact same one because I live 5 minutes away from a dollar store. And I don't know why I still haven't done that, but I think I know what I'm going to be doing this weekend. But I think it was so cool because some people even made them into keychains, which I thought was really interesting. But I also liked the small business TikTok because things like that, like the Spotify playlist thing, it was so cool seeing other people do whatever they thought was their thing, and it was so cool what they were selling and how much effort they put in their stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I would love to live 5 minutes away from a dollar store. You would not get me out of there. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on how people were just making what they thought was right. Definitely so true. So what kind of hobbies did you pick up during this quarantine?
I took up embroidery, and let me tell you, poking your finger is not that fun, but the outcome is so pretty. The front of the backpack, amazing. It's those Cancan backpacks, like the ones that Visco Girls had. And so I put flowers around it and everything. The outside, amazing, 10 out of 10. The inside is a different story, so that was it. What about you?
I think some hobbies I have picked up during this quarantine would be like bullet journaling. Honestly, it has become like very good to me. Like I like the layouts I'm making, and it definitely like motivates me to actually want to write down what I have to do my day or throughout my week. And like it's very therapeutic also, so definitely will recommend it.
That sounds so interesting. I wanted to take a bullet journaling, but I just never did. But I always saw people make them in their notebooks and everything, and it was just so interesting.
Yeah, definitely would recommend it if you're like just trying to like calm yourself down, recollect yourself. Definitely recommend it. Talking about all of this, were you ever tempted to start your own business?
For sure, especially with that broidery. I went to Target and a Target worker asked me, "Oh, did you buy that bag off of Etsy? Because a lot of people on Etsy already do this." And I was like, "Oh no, I did it myself. It took me a couple of days, but I'm so happy with the outcome." And she wanted me to do a bag for her mom for her birthday, and I thought it was so cool. Like in that moment I was like, man, I want to start my own business, but I never got to it. What about you?
First of all, we'll definitely be looking for my backpack, Lolly. Second of all, I have been tempted to start my own business. I think my two like ideas that I was thinking about would be like jewelry making and like starting my own like clothing line. I feel like it's such a like amazing idea to put something out there for people to wear and have a message to it. Like it sounds wonderful to me right now, but I don't know. I feel like I'm very subconscious and I will not get to the point. But I don't know. Maybe it will come. But as for jewelry making, I think it's very within my grasp, and I would definitely like to pursue it. But yeah.
What type of clothing would you do for your fashion business?
Personally, since I love crew necks, I would like definitely put crew necks as one thing to take out first. And I guess hoodies too, because I wear hoodies 24/7. But with this hotness, then I don't think so. But yeah, those would be like my top two.
And what about your jewelry?
I think I will focus on earrings because it's such a like thing to pursue, and people will like literally wear them 24/7 and you will have no problem. Like very subtle, if you ask me.
I know who I'm going to when I gotta look for some earrings.
Of course.
Speaking on businesses, were you ever tempted to buy something because you saw it on TikTok?
Definitely. There has been so many things that I have wanted to buy because of TikTok, like so many knickknacks, so many things that I know I don't need but I want. And literally my sisters are always nagging me about why do you want this, like if you're not even gonna wear it. Like I'm sure you can relate to this, so yeah.
In my TikTok, my For You page in the summer, not kidding, every other video would come up and it would say 10 things you need off of Amazon, and I was so tempted to buy them. Like there was this one video, and since I drive, there was this rear view mirror, and it was a dash cam, and I was like, I need it. I looked at the price, decided I didn't need it, but I really try to calm myself and not buy anything, but it's so difficult.
You gotta look at the price to see if you really need it, honestly.
Honestly, I look at it, I'm like, it's not pretty anymore.
Yeah.
Or it's not it. I wasn't looking at that. What? Psh, no. But yeah, TikTok is a dangerous place.
It really is. So Lolly, I think it's time to say goodbye to our fellow listeners. But
No.
yes, thank you for listening to our 2021 Like podcast and listening to us reminisce on some TikTok trends.
Hopefully you guys recreate these trends, and hopefully this distracted yourself from your usual day. And this was Becoming Hobby Lobby. I'm Lolly.
I'm Jay, and until next time.
This is Sophia Preto Black for your Half Awake News Update for May 7th. Biden declares mass killings of Armenians a genocide. On Saturday, April 24th, President Joe Biden openly recognized the Armenian genocide that happened more than a century ago. According to the New York Times, his statements indicated compliance to remedy a fractured relationship with Turkey and illustrated his administration's dedication to protecting and enforcing human rights. During the downfall of the Ottoman Empire, known today as Turkey, 1.5 million Armenians were killed by the police and government troops or died through forced starvation in the Syrian desert after fleeing. Although Turkey's government has acknowledged the extensive cruelties that occurred 106 years ago, Turkish leaders refused to call it what it was, a genocide. In the United States, however, Armenian activists consider Biden's proclamation to be a progressive action. Brian Ardeni, the executive director of the Armenian Assembly of America, believes that the president's unshakable stand against a century of denial could restructure the world's perspective on this horrific mass assassination. Ma'Khia Bryant's murder highlights the burden of Black girlhood. On Tuesday, April 20th, 16-year-old Ma'Khia Bryant was shot and killed by an officer in Columbus, Ohio. According to the New York Times, Miss Bryant had called the police for help after she had received assault threats. Body camera videos that were later released revealed Nicholas Reardon, the officer responding to Miss Bryant's 911 call, firing 4 shots that killed the young girl. Although the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation is still looking into what occurred, Miss Bryant was armed at the time, and this has been used to justify Reardon's use of deadly force. Commenters on the news and individuals on distinct social media platforms have also referred to Miss Bryant as a woman, not a young girl. They have also effectively used her body size and skin color to paint her as a threat to all individuals present at the scene. This portrayal has led to criticism by the Georgetown Law Center on Poverty and Inequality, which made a report in 2017 that claimed this to ultimately rob young girls of color of their freedom to be children. Bryant's death came after former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was convicted for the murder of George Floyd. And despite the fact that juvenile Black men also encounter very similar adultification biases, the struggles of young Black women remain minimized. I'm Sophia Preto Black for a Half Awake on YR Raw.
Magnifique, Soirée, Elegance, Oui, Dragon. A new way to bring elegance back into your life. Oui, Dragon delivers all the needs a case of dry hair needs catering to. With our grade A conditioner, you can say goodbye to dry hair days and hello to a new future with silky and shining hair. Huy Dragon, dignifying hair for elegance.
Jules is a complex and exciting character from the HBO series Euphoria. She's a teenage transgender girl who faces problems with her friends, family, and love life. The show's mood is pretty sad, but it's exciting to see why she makes the decisions she does. Her childhood trauma is lingering and influencing her choices as a young adult. Jules is a complicated character as she falls in love quickly with anyone, even if it risks her safety to fall for older man line. She trusts people easily, and this is often a problem for her because other people take advantage of that. When Jules was a child, she had a problem with self-harm. Her mother brought her to a mental facility without telling her what she was there for and left, which was very traumatizing. Her mother is also a drug addict, which shows up later when Jules falls for another main character, named Rue. Rue is also a teenage girl who goes to the same school as Jules and is a drug addict. Most of the things Jules deals with in her present reflect what she has been through before. She wanted her mother to love her, but never really felt her love was confirmed, which correlates with her falling in love quickly. Jules sees her mother and Rue similarly, as they are both drug addicts in her life. This piece relates to the real world because I know many friends who are rehabilitating teenage addicts, have parents who were addicts, and friends who have complicated relations with people they consider a partner or a loved one. Teenagers can relate to relationship problems as well as feeling angry, confused, conflicted the way Jules does. Much of our childhood trauma can be seen in our daily lives, interacting with others, making decisions that the series shows very well. I'm Marketing for Half Awake on YR. For this interview and more, YR.org.
You guys, welcome to Real or Fake. This is an online game show created by your fellow video peer teachers. We are your hosts, Onessa and Jalen. Today, you will be tested on your media literacy skills and your ability to be a critical media consumer. I'm sure all of you here are familiar with social media like Instagram and Facebook. And if you aren't, that's okay. It's actually almost encouraged. But today we will be testing to see if you're really paying attention to what you see on the internet. Today's participants are Sabina, Tito, Ochi, Ballet, Margaret, James, and Anna. Now let's pass it to Jalen to give us the instructions.
So players are given 3 articles to review and conduct their own research. Each team will discuss if the article is real or fake and decide on final answers for each article. Are they reporting or is it fake news? Each correct answer is worth 5 points. At the end of the main round, each team will choose a representative to go on to the speed round.
All right, and in Team Blue, we have Ochi, Ballet, James, and Anna. And then in Team Pink, we have Sabina, Tito, and Margaret. Get ready to put on those thinking caps and prepare yourself. Okay, round 1. All right. Houston police say crystal meth is found in breakfast burrito. Real or fake? Team Pink.
So our team came up with the consensus that this article was real. We came to this conclusion because the source we saw is credible, and we also searched up and saw that many other sources have the same story.
And Team Blue?
We would have to agree. Besides repeating what they said, so I looked through the article, link to get to that picture that is shown up there that was posted by like an actual TSA Twitter page. So yeah, there is some credible sources despite being kind of a poorly written article.
Okay, while there is a bias that comes with using Fox News, this is a real article. Title is a little misleading though, personally to me. I thought that breakfast burritos were being made with crystal meth, and I was like, what's going on? But yeah, it's a smuggling method for drug smugglers. Like you guys said, you guys can corroborate the article by just searching up other news sources to see if it's true. I like that you guys did that. That's very smart. Okay, next one. All right. Trump University study finds correlation between menthol cigarettes and voter fraud. Team Pink, what are your thoughts, real or fake?
As interesting as the article is, we decided that it was fake. After researching it and seeing that the website was it was intended as fictional news, we decided, yeah, the article was fake.
We also decided that this one was fake. We also found just like the way it was written kind of unprofessional. There's a part that literally says asking you shall receive, so it's kind of unprofessional there. More of a personal thing that I noticed from reading the headline. Whenever I see headlines that have to do about correlations, I automatically kind of have like a dismissive sort of view on them, because a lot of things try to just compare two points that have nothing to do with each other just to get a point across. And this was very similar, and kind of digs into some racial bias and stuff like that at the end of the article. I don't know, just reading it, you gotta get that vibe.
So you guys picked up on it. The National Report is a satirical website, and it can be noticed through the ads, the subtitles, the article pictures, and the website there that says National Report's America's crappiest independent news source. It's all terrible, and I apologize on behalf of them. Okay, last one. Georgia governor declares water a gateway drug that leads to voting. Team Pink, what are your thoughts?
We also decided this article was fake. Just the way it was written was like very like kind of also unprofessional, and it was like almost comedic. And like multiple instances throughout the article, it had like the word satire or satirical. So like obvious, we decided that this article was fake.
I'd also have to agree with the team. We also believe that it was fake. I think though in this case it was a lot more obvious that it was satirical and trying to make a joke. Besides, like other teams stated that the word satire is kind of blasted throughout the whole page. Just how short it is and the way it's written is a lot more humorous versus the other one trying to throw like fake facts at you. This one's just like so off the rails that you're like,
yeah, you guys got it. This is another satirical article coming from a political satire website. And you guys, you guys picked up on the clues. I actually had to like do research. That's just because I didn't read the article as well as you guys did. So good job on that, because the website itself looks a little more professional than the website before. But yeah, if you pay close attention, you can see that there's satire all over the article. So good job. All right, that wraps up the main round. The current score for Team Pink is 15 points, and the current score for Team Blue is also 15 points. You guys are tied right now. When we come back, we will enter the speed round to declare our final winner.
As a little kid, I always noticed the double standards in many of my family and friends' household. I noticed how all the women of the household would clean and cook, and all the men would come home from work and just relax. I also noticed that no matter how tired or exhausted the women felt, they still cleaned and cooked. Once I asked my cousin why these double standards existed, and I was told it was normal, but from my perspective, it seemed unfair. It felt unfair that my aunt and my mom would be preparing a meal and making sure the men ate while my dad and uncle sat around. I've experienced what it's like firsthand to be raised in a house with double standards, and I know that I'm not the only one that's being raised this way. Many people with the old school mentality might say that I'm just lazy and disrespectful, but the truth is that both men and women should be taught how to cook and clean, and they both should be taught how to work and provide for themselves. I feel that's important so that they don't have to rely on another person to do these things for them. If you have the skills to take care of yourself, you wouldn't have to ask or hire anyone to do that for you. The times are different from when men and women had different roles, and I would be upset to see my husband wait until I got back from work to eat. The world has changed though, because the children raised in double standards households treat their children equally. I've learned that I'm different from the people that have that old school mentality, but because of my own experience in my own household, I know I will raise my children differently from how I was raised by not running my household with double standards. If I have a daughter, I wouldn't train her to do the dishes while my son does nothing. I would want to teach all my children how to do the cleaning, cooking, and how to provide for themselves. I'm Stephanie for Half Awake on YR Raw. For this commentary and more, visit yrraw.org.
Welcome to our podcast, Passing the Time in the Pandemic. My name is Justin. My pronouns are he, him.
My name is Juliana and I go by she, her.
And my name is Renair. My pronouns are he, him.
Our topic for today's podcast is how high school students pass the time in the pandemic.
For the past year, we all have been staying in our homes and doing things that interest us to pass the time in the midst of a global pandemic.
Here are 3 high school students talking about the things that they did to occupy themselves.
The pandemic for me is a blessing in disguise because we had a year to reflect and have the time to focus on ourselves. I spent my birthday during the pandemic and I got a record player. Since then, I've been very into collecting vinyl records and supporting my local record shops. I've also watched a lot of films and TV shows that I didn't have the time to start or finish because I was too busy to do so. Most importantly, I learned a lot about myself during the past year, such as my relationship with other people, how I see myself, and what I actually like and what I actually don't like. Having a time to reflect about these things helped me grow as a person and influence my perspective about certain things in life.
On my time off during the pandemic, I did more running and watching TV. Running got me to stay active after hours-long Zoom classes. I rewatched my favorite shows written by Shonda Rhimes, mostly How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal, and I also got into new shows like Hunter x Hunter and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I spent a lot of time watching these shows because I got more fascinated by other people's stories. I feel like the pandemic isolated me in ways I hadn't before, cutting off the regular in-person interactions I had with friends that made me want to seek other people. Seeing people's stories on TV helped me feel more connected to people and the world at large, and learn more about what being human really meant.
On my off time during this pandemic, I went hiking and played video games. I love going on hikes because when I'm inside all day, I feel very cramped, so going outside for fresh air feels good. I really like nature, and that's why I like hiking. Going outside for a hike is nice, hearing water splash against rocks as you walk down a trail. Hiking is nice when you get a good view of the world or the area. When there is a nice breeze and it's pretty hot outside, that is a good day to hike. I go hiking on the weekend because you have to wake up really early in the morning. I like playing video games when I'm done with all my schoolwork. The most recent games I've been playing are Valorant, Genshin Impact, and Roblox. I like these games because you can play with others and most of my cousins have it. I like to play with my cousins and we spend a lot of time playing together.
It's been a really tough year for all of us. We all have been doing things virtually, staying at home, and not getting to see all of our friends and family in person. However, during this time, we had the opportunity to explore new things that some might say have changed their lives.
Don't be so hard on yourself. If you think that you've been really unproductive this past year, or you haven't done things that you expected to finish, it is important to know that there are obstacles in life that we just don't have any capacity to prevent.
Every day, there are thousands of people who are getting vaccinated and share their part to make this horrible and frustrating time go away. By getting vaccinated, you are not only helping yourself and the people in your household, but also millions of people as well. This is Justin,
Juliana,
and Renair, and this is Passing the Time in the Pandemic.
This is Lisbeth Garibay for your Half Awake News update for Friday, May 7th. According to CBS News, India is hurriedly in need of COVID vaccines as the country's deaths from the COVID-19 virus have been skyrocketing. People are in need of the vaccines along with oxygen tanks, yet are quickly running out of those resources. Deaths are spiraling and India reached an all-time high of 360,960 new cases in one day. The US plans to have vaccines and oxygen tanks sent to India. However, exactly when this will happen is not yet specified. And in technology news, the fight between the companies Epic Games and Apple for the future of the App Store will finally take place in court. According to The Verge, Epic Games had added a direct payment to the very popular game Fortnite, violating Apple's rules. Apple later removed the game from the App Store. Epic filed a lawsuit against the iPhone company, and the case will be prosecuted beginning May 3rd. Disclosure on the inner workings of Apple, one of the biggest and most powerful companies, are promised to be announced. I'm Lisbeth Garibay for Half Awake on YR Raw.
All right, so welcome to the speed round. So I hope your representative is ready because your critical media skills will be put to the test. So one representative will be chosen from each team and will be given only headlines representatives. We'll decide if the headline is a legitimate piece of news or clickbait headline with false information. Each correct answer is worth 10 points. The team with the most points at the end of the game will be deemed the winner. So, are you guys ready? All right, let's go. Trump's tweets about leaving the election. Is this real or fake?
I think it's fake because I don't think Twitter uses that font, but I don't know.
I think it's also fake because I feel like Trump is very proud of America and he wouldn't leave. Oh no, actually, I think it's real. I think I saw this tweet. No, it's real. Okay.
Yeah, and Trump never tweeted about that. So, yeah.
I think he said it, but I don't think he tweeted it. Something like that.
Yeah, that is true. A massive rubber ducky in a city river. Is this real or fake?
Fake, probably.
Yeah, fake.
Okay. Well, this image is actually real. It's located in the city river. It's a series of several giant floating sculptures of yellow rubber ducks. And it's appeared in many cities around the world, including like Hong Kong and Pittsburgh and Toronto. So this man is slacklining it on a mountain without a parachute or a safety line. Is this real or fake?
I guess real.
I think it's real also.
Yeah, you're right. This image is real. It is a picture. This man right here is Dean Potter, and he's walking on a tightrope in Yosemite Park. And he was an American free climber, base jumper, and highliner. So this is real. Onessa, can you give us the final score?
Yep. So Team Pink won with having 45 points and Team Blue had 35, if I heard the voices correctly. So good job, you guys. You guys all did a really good job, actually. You guys were impressing me because not that many people go and corroborate. I guess a little bit last session, but we're starting at the gate, which is great, literacy skills, and we love to see it. Okay, so what did you guys think about all these articles and what is important? What's an important skill when you're trying to be critical of the media you consume?
I'd like to say, I don't know if this is directly coming from this, but when browsing the internet, especially on your own phone, confirmation bias, you're going to see a lot of things that you probably agree with, and a lot of these articles that are written to be fake news. For example, the second one we watched, even though it's really satirical, and the website literally claims that it's the poorest form of news that you can get from. Those articles can reinforce your own values. So even if it's not necessarily super believable from an unopinion standpoint, it's just reinforces any ideas. And if you don't stuff that we've seen here, it might seem outlandish, but I don't know. I think it's just critical to be aware that these things are meant to drive clicks and views versus actually inform the media.
I feel like you also have to think about what the publisher's motives were. Are they trying to sell something? Are they trying to slander someone? A lot of it is common sense. If they want to say something that's just not true, they usually have a motive, or they just want to go viral or something like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I say always double check your sources. If a story is coming from one source and you don't see it anywhere else, that's probably not a good sign. So it's always good to do your research and see if what you're reading or the media you're consuming comes from multiple sources, and if those sources are credible.
Yeah, most definitely. You guys are really good at this stuff. Okay, that wraps up this episode of Real or Fake. Great job to all of our participants, and thank you for your thoughtful and thorough answers. We hope that through this activity, you've improved your ability to recognize fake news and misinformation, but I think you guys did a really good job. And also take what you learned from today as you question the media you consume, and protect yourself from the false ideas or narratives, and always look out for the truth.
Well, special thanks to our core peer teachers, myself, Nevaeh, Onessa, for producing this show. Have an amazing day, and we will see you next time on Real or Fake.
The Tree of Life is an experimental epic written and directed by Terrence Malick, supported by an all-star cast, including Brad Pitt, Jessica Chastain, and Sean Penn. The film went on to be nominated for Best Picture at the 2011 Academy Awards. The Tree of Life tells the story of Jack and his two brothers growing up on a sleepy street in suburban Texas in the 1950s. Jack has a troubled relationship with his stern father, Mr. O'Brien, and seeks comfort in his loving mother. Early in the film, we learn that one of the brothers will be killed as a young man while serving time in the military. The quiet, suburban life of the O'Brien family is juxtaposed with the creation of the universe, where we watch life spring from a primordial soup of gas clouds, colliding stars, and splitting atoms. By contrasting the silent grief of the O'Brien family with the inception of the universe, director Terrence Malick illustrates our finite experience of life and suffering. Unlike traditional films that center around plot, Terrence Malick uses the film medium as a canvas upon which he paints his celestial and spiritual inquisitions into creation. Rather than a typical Hollywood movie, the experience of watching The Tree of Life feels closer to laying in a grassy field while the clouds pass. I'm Gabriel for Half Awake on YR Raw, For this review and more, visit wireraw.org.
When I first walked through the Milvia side gates at Berkeley High as a tiny little freshman, I heard a large group of boys behind me say, "Damn, she's small, but I hit that," in Spanish. I speed walked as fast as I could to my friends, with my cheeks burning and desperate to get away from the boys' glares that I now felt all over me. I was too embarrassed to tell my friends what had happened. Ever since, I realized that the ongoing nature of sexual jokes and allegations at Berkeley High was uncomfortable and unchecked. The problem with sexual jokes is that they're threatening, terrifying, and just not funny. Those words can lead to physical harm. For example, in 2020, a list was written in the girls' bathroom of the names of boys who had done sexual harm to the girls at the school. This list resulted in weeks of trauma resurfaced, too many tears shed, and a lot of unsuccessful in-class discussions. A group of powerful women led a walkout in which almost all of the school participated, impacting everyone. The red shirts that became the symbol for being an ally, the stories being told, and all the work that was put into attempting to create change at Berkeley High still gives me chills over a year later. It was really intense, but also really inspiring to witness the power the women at Berkeley High had to attempt justice for what really needed desperate change at the school. The normalization of rape culture being dismissed has become too common in today's culture, making it seem like change is not possible. But seeing women put work into protest, come out with stories, and fight to get alleged rapists removed from schools has shown me and hundreds of other women the impact we can have by fighting for our justice. We didn't really see as much of a result as we wanted to see with holding perpetrators accountable and having justice created for survivors, but we did create a message for Berkeley High. The rape culture cannot and will not continue. I'm Amalia for Half Awake on YR Raw. For this commentary and more, visit yrraw.org. Thank you.
Welcome to the Listen In podcast with your host, Audrey LaJeunesse.
And your host, Daniel Perez. Today we got a good discussion for you guys.
What are we talking about?
Music! That's right, we're going to be talking about the Grammys, some of our favorite artists, and some of our musical favorites. Let's start with the Grammys.
This year, the 63rd Grammy Awards were held on March 14th in Los Angeles.
As you know, the Grammys are pretty controversial, but at the same time, they're still one of the most important events in the music world.
They have been nicknamed the Scammys for snubs. The most recent I can think of are Macklemore's The Heist winning Best Rap Album over Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly and Cardi B's Invasion of Privacy winning Best Rap Album over Travis Scott, Pusha T, Nipsey Hussle, and Mac Miller in 2018. They have also been accused of racism at a lot of different times, but they still remain one of the biggest music award shows.
Okay, so let's talk about this year's awards. Audrey, who were you excited to see?
I was excited to see Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak perform because of their new funk band called Silk Sonic. I think they're a really good combination.
There was a lot of controversy concerning this year's Grammy Awards.
The Grammys are controversial every year.
For real, especially the wins and nominations. There were some big debates about some of the main awards.
I agree with winner of Record of the Year, which was Everything I Wanted by Billie Eilish.
Ooh, there were some good nominations for the Record of the Year. Going off my personal opinion, I'd say either Circles by Post Malone or Say So by Doja Cat. Do you agree with the winner of the Album of the Year, which was Folklore by Taylor Swift?
I don't really agree. I think After Hours by The Weeknd should have won, but it wasn't even nominated, which is like the biggest snub ever because he broke so many records with that album and it's one of my favorites. Who do you think was the greatest Grammy performance of all time?
Oof, that's pretty hard to answer, but biased answer, I'm gonna have to go with Michael Jackson's performance at the 1988 Grammys because that was just an amazing performance. Alright, let's talk about artists now. First of all, what are your favorite genres?
I like R&B, rap, and pop. What about yours?
I also like rap and R&B, but my third favorite genre has to be soul music.
What are your top artists from those genres?
For rap, I'd say Biggie, Stevie Wonder for soul, and R&B Luther Vandross. Are there any artists you think are coming up?
I think Kali Uchis is definitely coming up. She's already pretty popular and has been for a couple years, but she got a lot of recognition recently for her song Telepatia, which broke a lot of records, and I think a lot more people are paying attention to her now. Is there an artist who passed that you'd want to bring back?
Ooh, there's just so many artists I'd want to bring back. It's really hard to choose. Well, that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Listening In podcast with your host, Daniel Perez.
Audrey LaJeunesse. Bye.
I have moderate to severe dandruff.
But now, they're staying truthful acts.
3 out of 4 people experience extreme social anxiety when they have dandruff.
Now I can live my day without that extra weight on my shoulders.
Dandrufaberg is taken once every hour with water, after 2 starter doses. Dananana may cause hallucinations, constipation, abnormal perspiration, inflammation, longer probation, ovulation, stomach inflation, physical education, and spontaneous combustion. Ask your doctor for Live, laugh, love.
Released on December 18, 2020, Sweet Home, a Korean horror TV show, tells the story of Cha Hyun-soo, an antisocial loner who moves to a worn-down apartment after his family dies in a car accident. Hyunsu spends all day alone in his room, playing video games and eating ramen, waiting for the day he intends to commit suicide. In the course of his stay, Hyunsu begins noticing unusual events happening to him and the people around him. Turning on the news, Hyunsu finds out that there is a disease spreading around that turns people into monsters, and that the early symptoms such as nosebleeds, pass-outs, and excessive hunger might be the cause of this monstrification. He then begins witnessing early symptoms himself while working with his neighbors to fight off the monsters in order to survive. Sweet Home reflects our actual world, portraying characters with mental health disorders. For example, all the characters in Sweet Home have anxiety about whether they will be able to survive this monster apocalypse. As spectators of the film, we can experience different levels of anxiety every day. Although we can have anxiety over the littlest moments such as finishing simple tasks, interacting with people, and even having new experiences, it can be a challenge. In my personal experience, I suffer from social anxiety when meeting in person and holding a conversation with someone I'm not comfortable with. I think that the representation of mental health disorders is portrayed well in Sweet Home because I can personally relate to Hyunsu, the main character. After watching Sweet Home, something we need to think about is what it means to be human. Why should we want to hold on to our humanity? We need to have an open mind as humans to understand, to have compassion, and have sympathy towards those who are struggling with mental health disorders. Hyunsu became less of a loner and doesn't suffer as much with his anxiety. He reconnects with his humanity and decides to live. I'm Ashley for Half Awake on Wire Raw. For this review and more, visit wireraw.org.